Hey guys, and welcome back to another lap guide here on the Coach Dave Academy YouTube channel. My name is Emery. We're here for week 8 at the Imola circuit in the Porsche Cup car. Let's get on with the hot lap. So let's get into the hot lap guide then for the Imola circuit. So starting off the lap here then on the pit straight down towards turn 1. Just keeping it as straight as we can, just following the curb on the left-hand side, and then pulling back to the right-hand side and braking just before we get to this marshal post on the right-hand side, and bang on in line with the 200-meter board you can see up on the right-hand side. Visually at this point in the car, you can only really see the marshal post. So it's probably better to just slam the brakes on just before you get to that point. And also you got the 200-meter board just before for your reference as well. And then heading down towards turn 1, not too heavy on the brakes, about 60% or so, down to third gear. You can use these sausage curbs on the inside. The car doesn't mind them too much around this track, even though it is usually quite sensitive to them. And same again with turn 2. You can use a little bit of the sausage curb on the inside, and then that's absolutely fine on the exit. Same again with turn 3, a little bit of curb on the insides. You can see the car does slightly jolt a little bit, but it's all stable and we're completely flat through there. Just watch the track limits on the exit, just as you can pick up an off track if you go too far outside the track limits. And as you're flat, it's quite easy to drift out quite far and also touch the grass as well, which will also give you an off track. I'll just show you what turn 1 looks like in the Delta app, guys. Here. So we're going quite quickly into turn 1, so you don't want to slam the brakes on too hard. We go up to about 60% peak pressure, just nice and gradually increasing the pressure up to the peak. Then we start to turn in. You can see the steering trace here, turning into the left, releasing the brake quite quickly as we don't want to scrub off too much speed. And as we start turning right as well, you can see we're also picking up the throttle with a small lift just over the bump or the sausage curb on the right-hand side for turn 2. And we're completely flat as we go through turn 3 over the other sausage curb on the inside. And then heading down towards turn 4, the next chicane, braking just after this marshal post, and you've got this bit of tarmac on the right-hand side as well. Braking just after that, literally only about 30% on the throttle, again using all of these inside curbs on the left hand side, so you really want to be angled towards the inside of this sausage curb on the left hand side, and then the car glides across that quite nicely. Fourth gear for the first part, and then down to third gear for the right hander, and again using all of the inside curb, so again aiming just for this inside part of the sausage curb for the right hand tires, and the car doesn't mind that too much. The track limits on the exit at the edge of this red and white curb, so just trying to keep some sort of wheel on this curb on the right hand side. And then switching back, again braking just in line with the service road on the right hand side, and you've got the 50-meter board as well. About 50% on the brake, and then just trailing off down to first gear. We're not really using the curb on the apex, we're just following the white line round, just so we don't unstabilize the car at all on the inside. and it also gives us a nice exit as well. And again, just watch the track limits on the exit, similar to the exit of turn 3. Heading up the hill then, just looking at our reference points on the right-hand side, braking just before the 50-meter board on the right, and making sure we're as wide as we possibly can for the left-hander. Down to third gear, not using too much of the inside curb, just so we don't unstabilize the car again. And then let the car trail out nice and wide. Again, the limit here is the red and white curb. So as long as you've got some of your left-hand tyres on this curb, you're fine for track limits. It's when you start going a bit further and just using the AstroTurf, that's when you're going to get an off track. Or if you go out here, you pick up a slowdown. Just make sure you bear that in mind, especially in the race on the first couple of laps. And then plunging back down the hill, slight dab of the brake on the way in, again using the 50-meter board on the left-hand side up here. As a reference, just dabbing the brake literally up to about 20% and then coming off it and just trailing all the way in, down to third gear. And then once we straighten the car up here, you notice we've increased the brake pressure once again. And then down to second gear at the apex. Make sure we're not using the sausage curbs on the inside, just the red and white curb for this one, as these will throw you off slightly more. And on the power, using all of the AstroTurf on the exit. Again, the limit is the red and white curb, so as long as we've got some of our tyres on that curb, we're absolutely fine for track limits. And then keeping it left for the chicane, or the next chicane, which is very, very hard to get right. And braking just in the middle of the 100-meter board and the 50-meter board on the left-hand side. Down to third gear, and then making sure we get this absolutely right. You can see the car gets quite violently thrown into the air here. And you've also got to watch out for track limits as well. Any more than that, any more of the grass or anything like that, as long as you've got a bit of your car touching the curb, you should be fine. But any more than this, you will get an off track. So just watch out for that one. And same for this one as well. That's pretty much the limit again. It's very hard to get right, the chicane. It does feel a little bit like luck sometimes, but just make sure you do your practice. Practice the chicane, you learn where the limit is. Same with the exit. Again, just making sure we're keeping a tyre on the red and white curb on this side of the car. If you go too far, again, you'll pick up a slowdown. And if you go on this AstroTurf, you'll pick up an off track as well. So just watch out for that. And then into the final couple of corners of the lap. Very tricky braking zone, coming up downhill. Is luckily in a straight line, using a slight bit of the curb on the way in, just to open up the corner slightly more. We're braking just as we start turning the car. You've also got a 150-meter board on the right-hand side, and also this Marshall post here on the left as a reference. Just want to start braking after those, and then nice and steadily in a straight line. Down to second gear, using the curb on the inside. And I'll just go back and see if I can give you a bit of a turning point as well. You've got this white line across the track. Kind of want to start turning it just as we pass that white line. Let the car trail out nice and wide for the penultimate corner. And then you've got, again, the track limits for the final corner are this red and white curb. Don't go any further than the red and white curb, as again, you'll pick up an off track. And then this one's also pretty tricky. The rear always wants to get away from you as you slam on the brakes. If you are struggling, then just go slightly forwards, maybe for the last corner on the brake bias. And you can use a little bit more of the inside curb as well, just not too much, as again, you'll pick up an off track. And then watch the track limits on the final corner. Another one that's really easy to get caught out on, especially with the gravel there as well. You'll lose a lot of time. Just making sure, again, we're sticking with our left-hand tyres on the curb. And then flat out towards the line. Just keeping it as short as you can, really. Trying to hug the inside wall, the pit wall. And that will complete a lap of the Imola circuit. So that was the hot lap guide then for the Imola circuit here for week 8 in the Porsche Cup Car Series. My name's been Matt Emery. As usual, you can check out all the latest data packs on CoachDaveAcademy.com and all the latest hot lap guides for this week on this YouTube channel as well. But other than that, I will see you next week for week 9, guys. So take care.